Welcome to our home. Oh, come on, Roxy. Some of you may have seen our original house tour when we moved in back in 2022, but we're going to show you around the house, everything we've done in the last year and how it looks in comparison to when we moved in. We've done quite a lot of renovating. There's still a lot to do, but I'm excited to show you the house as it is now. I'm very excited for when we get time to do this hallway because it is a bit of a mess. So if you are completely new to the channel, never seen the house before, we are based in Cornwall. This is an old farmhouse or cottage and it's Georgian Victorian. So I think it's from the 1860s it was built and it's gorgeous. We love it so much. It's our dream home. So this is our hallway to begin with. We have, I think since the last video, painted this hallway and we've done the lighting. It was originally white with a kind of dark bench. We love the bench, so we just painted it in Palmer Grey by Farrow & Bull, the whole hallway. In hindsight, I actually want to colour drench, and that's the next project in this space and also some of the rooms upstairs. But I love the colour, it's very calm. It's the same colour as our front door, back door and our annex. And I just think this looks so much nicer now that we've done this. And we just need to do some last finishing touches in the hallway. We haven't done our skirting boards, we haven't done the cupboards behind you, which are completely exposing all of our, look, show them. It's completely exposing all of our, what do you call it? Fuse board and, what are they called?
Satellite panel.
What are they called?
Solar panel.
Solar panel. But so we're midway through this sort of part. The lights are a particular highlight. These are from Jim Lawrence. I can see a spider on that one, that's the only issue. And I love them so much, they're so beautiful. We moved our piano into the hallway. That was kind of always the plan. It was in the living room. We've put some pictures on the walls, picture lights down here, a nice rug. It's kind of in the middle. We need to finish painting, like I said, but fingers crossed we'll get it done by the end of the year. Follow me into my favorite part of the house, the kitchen. This is our kitchen, which is what made me fall in love with this house in the first place. As you can see, it's really lovely and big. It's obviously been knocked down. There used to probably be a dining room and a kitchen separate. It is a really old world feel in here because we've got these open fireplaces. This one's got an Aga and then we've got a fireplace in the dining area. When we first saw the house and viewed it, it's kind of what made us fall in love with it. I'd always envisaged having a kitchen that was big and open plan with gorgeous windows. Like, it just, honestly, every day I wake up and come down here and I am so grateful that this is my home. I can't quite believe it, and it means I can create so many recipes and share them in this kitchen. I don't know that anything has changed besides just small decorating or like little bits and pieces, because this was the first room that we renovated when we first moved in. It is a gorgeous kitchen and we just added storage and painted it. So we painted the kitchen in Lick Green 09, I think that's what it was. We've added some storage, so we've added this fridge unit, which has been so great. We've got storage above and a full fridge, and then also this freezer and this cupboard here. So we've got spices down there and then the huge freezer there. And as someone who makes lots of recipes, that is so useful. And in the future, when we've got a family, it means we're going to have loads of space in the kitchen. We also added these units. So these are Carrera quartz. I think I remembered that correctly. It has brought a lot of light to the room because originally we had a granite, black, kind of slate grey worktop, and then we had wood, and it did make the room feel quite dark. It's not the brightest rooms. Today is a very sunny day, so it's a lot brighter than it usually is. And so this adds a lot more light. This is our Argo, which is just a really old style of oven. They're quite coveted, I think, because they are quite expensive. So when you look at a house or when you're viewing a house and it's got an Argo, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Well, it was for me anyway. For anyone who's like interested in old homes or cooking, it's very exciting to have one in a home already. And I absolutely love it. It keeps the house warm. It's a source of heating and it's really fun to cook on. We added this like rail and put these copper pans, which my mum gave to me, and it just makes the room feel so cottagey and old and beautiful. I love to decorate with a mixture of vintage and new because I feel like it gives that balance. I want the home to look like it's kind of always been this way, but also look like it's up to date. So I have lots of vintage or like antique paintings. Most of the accessories and bits around the house are antique. I've picked them up in charity shops, antique shops, or Etsy. I tend to prefer that to buying things on new websites. In fact, pretty much everything in this house is old. We also made the island a little bit longer so that we could have these stools underneath. Actually, to be honest with you, we don't use the stools that much. I think because it's just two of us. This area is kind of like our main living area in a way. We spend so much time here working, eating, relaxing. When people come over, we'll sit around here at the window seat, at the chair. It's just the most beautiful space to have open plan. It's very cool to have a fireplace in here. We actually changed the wood burner. This is a Charnwood Stoves one, which is so cozy. We don't actually turn it on loads because it does get very hot in here when the Arga's on. At Christmas time, does feel very cozy, and it just is another little touch that makes it feel like I've gone back in time having a fireplace in a kitchen. This table, I think that this has seen me through my entire YouTube career because this table featured in my first ever house tour, which was back when I lived with my parents and we lived in a little annex, and my parents had this growing up, so this was my childhood table. I think that my mum said she got it on Gumtree years ago, obviously when I was very little, and it used to be a table that was used on a ship because the legs unscrew. So when she was replacing it because she realised it was too big for her kitchen renovation, I said, can I have it please? And I've had it ever since, and it's the perfect table. And then the chairs and the stool have all been just picked up from Facebook Marketplace, or I think the stool was from Etsy, just to add to that kind of mismatched style. We did add these cupboards. They do need to be fixed because since adding them, because they're made with wood, they have all warped and pretty much none of them close. So there's a little behind the scenes of renovating. I probably moaned about it in the last one. But we will fix them eventually and swap them for MDF and get them to close properly. And I actually would love to paint the walls and the cupboards a different colour because right now it's bright white. I think I would like to go for an off stony white colour, or I don't know, I maybe would go for something completely different. That's the next step I'd love to do one day when we get these fixed. But in the process of doing these cupboards, we did put in a window seat, which is my favourite thing in the world. I sit here all the time. When I built it, I thought, am I going to use this? I use it loads. I have cups of coffee here, tea, I work, scroll on my phone. It's just amazing, and I get to look out in the garden. This is the last corner of the kitchen. We've got my dresser, which I probably said this in the last video. I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but who knows? This dresser I got from Facebook, and it was a miracle because it literally fits exactly to the space between the doors. It was originally grey and it had kind of sparkly handles. We repurposed the handles from the kitchen that we swapped because we needed more of them. And I painted it in, I think, Lick Green 02, which is a lovely sage green colour. And I wanted something darker just to offset the light green, and I love it. It is just a place to display all of my lovely plates, a very lovely part of the kitchen that adds a lot of character. This is actually Roxy's chair. She's pretty much always lying in this, but sometimes I'll sit here. We did used to have this door open, and sometimes we do, but we tended to not really use it very much because you use the other one. So we have it closed, and this chair is actually more useful. And then this cupboard is just another area that we can shove loads of things that we don't want on display out of the way, hidden, never to be thought about. And this through here is our living room. I think that this living room has changed since you last saw it because we've added a huge sofa. I don't know that it's as aesthetically pleasing as it was in the last video because we had two of those lovely striped armchairs in here, but it wasn't practical for me and Alex. We're both very tall, and it just meant that it would only ever really be one of us in the living room, and we weren't often watching things together. This way we can both stretch out, we can have the fire on, watch TV together, and it's just a lot comfier. This sofa was an absolute steal. We got this on eBay from someone in Penzance, and it was a big L-shaped corner sofa for something like £600. This is an Ochre sofa. Ochre is a very high-end, amazing interior company that sell very, very lovely sofas and homeware. And usually I'm sure that when they bought it, it was probably a lot of money. So it was such a steal. It came with two other pieces that we have actually put in in our annex, but it's a like modular sofa. So we've just kept it like this in here. Realistically, it's probably too big for the space, but it's a very small living room, and you have to sometimes weigh up functionality versus aesthetics in your home because you're living in it. And as much as it's nice to make a home look pretty, realistically, you want it to be comfortable too. So this is amazing. We've got our lovely frame TV, which I do sometimes get questions about with the frame. The actual frame that goes around the television wasn't from Samsung, it was from eBay. And it was a company that does frames like that. I reckon now there's probably way more of them that do it. You can probably get them very easily, but it does make actually it's not on. We're not showing it in its full glory. Where's the remote control? It does make it really feel like it's just a painting. Lots of people have actually been confused when I've said it's a television, because I feel like with the one that comes with it, it maybe looks more television-like. So I wanted it to be kind of in the vibe of it being old. It's very huge. Again, this is another thing that's kind of practicality versus aesthetics. If it had been my choice, I'd definitely have gone for a smaller television, but my husband behind the camera definitely wanted a larger one to watch sports and movies and have it be on a big screen. So it probably is a little bit large for the space, but whatever, it's a place that you're watching TV most of the time. We painted the bookshelves in the same colour as the dresser in the kitchen, mainly because we had leftover paint, but also we just thought it tied it in together. One thing that we always said we would do would be to trim them and then put some cupboards at the bottom. Haven't got round to it, it's just ended up being quite low importance. The thing that I've learned about renovating or redecorating is that usually with every room, there's one thing left that you would like to do, and then you just run out of money, run out of energy, and it just doesn't get done, and that's that thing. I'm sure we'll do it eventually, but it's not happened yet. We've got our lovely wood burner. You may notice there's a few little damp patches. We need to fix our pointing outside. The joy of owning an old home. So though we've decorated a lot of the spaces, there is a slight damp issue, and we are suspicious that it's to do with our chimneys and the water coming down. So the next big project is not going to be an aesthetic, pretty, lovely, fun one. It's going to be repointing and fixing the chimney stacks so that we don't have this damp issue, and it can hopefully resolve that problem. But we've got the same stove that we've got in the kitchen, just black. And I'm so excited that it's cozy season and we can be lighting the fire all the time now. Our home also just featured in Period Living. It's from this month, so you may still be able to get it when you are watching this video, because this is October. And it was very surreal. They came in spring to photograph the house and share it. So if you want to have a little look, I've got loads of copies just because it's such a lovely memory. Everything in here is old. Like I said, all the tables have come from Facebook Marketplace. We've gone for lots of nice old touches. Even the books on the bookshelves are all picked up from antique shops and collected over time. It just makes it feel like not too contrived and not too much like we've changed loads, but more like this is what the house has always been like, and that was always the aim with the interior of this house. As time has gone on and I've decorated, I've definitely leaned into more colour, and you'll see that when we go upstairs, because I think I was very much into my neutrals, and this home was very neutral when we moved in, and I realised quickly that it really needed colour. So again, if I was to do this room again, I may have gone for more colourful curtains. I think that it's great to add colour in cushions, and actually when they did the Period Living shoot, they brought these really beautiful cushions that would be so cute to add in here, and I'm just not shy of colour at all anymore. You can have a room full of colour. Like this room has got so many different colours going on. We've got greens, pinks, reds, purples, blues, but it doesn't feel in your face. If you pick a few and pair them well, then it can really make a room feel in harmony and calm without it looking too minimal and too bland. I just think old homes, unless you're going for the contrast of modern interiors in an old home, if you're going for the traditional look, really embrace colour and pattern, because it will bring so much liveliness to your space. Let's go into the least pretty place in the whole house, which is our utility room. This room is a practical room. I think that we'll do this up probably one of the last things, and I think Alex and I will try and do it in a really budget way, so we'll share that, because it's a functional space. We use this for recycling, for cleaning, for storing cat food, cleaning products, and it's not somewhere that needs to be perfect looking at all. I think that when we do it, I want to get rid of these cupboards and put some nice old shelves, keep the sink, keep this, maybe just change the handles. I love the flooring, and just, yeah, make it feel how it is now, but just a little bit nicer, because it's a bit run down. We've got a very old boiler, but I'd love to show you this off a bit more. Maybe put a lovely like curtain to hide the boiler, that kind of thing. Round here you'll see we've got a toilet. This shower doesn't work, we just use it to store recycling that doesn't go with the general recycling. Things like bags that you can take to the supermarket and UHT bottles. We've got the cat litter, the toilet. Everyone has an area like this in their home, and it will be the last place that we do because it's so not important. So that's the main area downstairs, so let's go upstairs. So we're coming upstairs now, and we'll go straight into the bathroom. This room we haven't renovated, but we do want to renovate it and redecorate to make it our own. We suspect maybe some of it is a little bit DIY. This shower, for example, is not the most practical, and we're going to put in a double sink unit. We've got this lovely bath, which is just the best thing in the world. It's so huge. I get to look out the window, have a bath. I have at least 1 or 2 baths a week. Alongside the kitchen, this bath and also the wisteria on the back of the house were the reasons that I wanted to buy the house, and I fell in love with it. This is our shower, which is a cool idea, but actually when you're showering, washing your hair, it's a bit like I often bang my arm, and I can't get my head around the purpose of these showers, because it's kind of gaslighting you into believing that you've got a bigger shower, but you don't, because you don't shower here. You shower here, so it's just a small shower, really. This is just a walkway. Because, I don't know, someone explain it to me, I don't get it. But we're going to put in a normal shower that will probably be, I'm pretty sure it's like this size, moving the toilet here so it's not in the entryway. Because right now the toilet is right by the door, and this is part of the reason we want to change it up, because when you're, I'm not gonna show you, but when you're sitting on the toilet, your legs are right next to the door. If, like, me and Alex aren't particularly worried about being in the room if they're the ones using the loo, if I want to run in and grab something, I can't because Alex is sat on the toilet. So it's just not the most practical. So we're going to move the toilet to where Alex is stood, and we're going to put a double sink unit. We've got, I'll show you where they are, but we've got a unit and a bath from Burlington and stuff in the attic that has been sitting there for so long. They kindly sent it to us, and then we haven't got round to doing this bathroom because life happened and there were other things that were needed to be done first. So that is the plan, but it's a lovely bathroom, sorry, to enjoy in the meantime. Like, I love this bathroom. It's very, very beautiful. But let's go to the main bedroom. This room we've done absolutely nothing to. This room has changed. We have wallpapered this room. This room has become my dream bedroom. We wallpapered this ourselves. I did film it, so you can watch that. I filmed all of the renovation, so you can check all of it out. It is a wallpaper by Sanderson, and then the paint is Lulworth Blue by Farrow & Bull. I want to do another colour drench like I did want to do in the hallway, and I also want to do it in the other bedrooms, because in hindsight, I realised how cool it would look in here if the whole ceiling was blue and you're lying in bed like you're looking up at the sky, and then this wallpaper makes you feel like you're in the garden, which works so beautifully because this bedroom looks out onto the garden. Because these rooms are small, I have gone for a lot of colour and pattern. I think in the past I would have done the opposite and thought, oh, it's a small room, so you need to make it bright and feel airy. But I actually now think the opposite. If you have a small room, luckily the ceilings are tall, so it doesn't make it feel too small. But as you can see, the bed pretty much takes up the whole room because it's kind of like a cottage-sized bedroom. I just embrace it and make it really cozy and full of pattern and full of colour for that reason. This bed is a super king, so that's why it takes up so much space, because me and Alex are, well, I'm 6 foot, Alex is like 6'3". Sorry about the shoes, but I'm not going to show my feet on the internet. I really want to get a nice vintage quilt for the bottom of the bed. I haven't found one I like yet. This is not actually usually here, but I just put it here because the bed isn't ironed. What are you doing, Bobby? She wants to go on the bed. I'll put her on the bed. Come on then. Up you go. Our bedside tables I got on eBay, and when I first got them I was really scared because they were a little orange, but they have settled down. They're antique pine and they look gorgeous. They're really tall as well, which is what I needed. That was quite hard to find, 2 matching bedside tables this height that aren't open. They've got cupboards, doors. These are from Dunelm, and then the vintage, like antique bird paintings were from an antique shop in Penzance. This is the same chair that is downstairs. These are the 2 chairs that used to be in the living room. This is more for decoration purposes, to fill the corner. It makes it feel cozy. I don't really ever sit on it. Alex sometimes sits on it actually, don't you? You kind of relax up here. And then this is an antique pine chest of drawers, which we got from down Land's End somewhere. We have got a massive ugly black box, but I couldn't justify getting another frame because they are probably the most expensive TV you can buy. So we've just got a normal TV. One day maybe we'll replace it for a frame so we don't have that, but I do cherish my time watching TV in bed, doing my skincare, winding down, watching Real Housewives or Love Island. It is just my idea of heaven. This lamp is a lovely one from, I think it also was from Dunelm. Kind of a Was it not?
Wayfair.
Wayfair. Wayfair is a little bit of a dark horse when it comes to lighting, because sometimes with lighting you can't really get antique as easily. We do have an antique one in another room, but sometimes you do have to go for new, and they have some incredible stuff that isn't as expensive as other brands like Jim Lawrence that we've got in the house. And I just loved how floral it was, and it just fits the vibe of the wallpaper and complements it. And then these curtains we got made at Truro Fabric. If you live in Cornwall, I highly recommend Truro Fabric if you want to get any curtains made, but they have the most incredible selection of fabrics. This is a beautiful, really soft, just cream fabric, which makes such a difference because it's not just a plain material, it's this lovely soft material. So they look very luxe and just gorgeous. I think I found an image on Pinterest that had some like this and I was like, I need that, especially with this wallpaper. And it means if we ever redecorate, which I don't know if we would, but if we did, these can stay because they're neutral. And I wanted them to be cream rather than white, so they had some warmth. And then we painted the windowsill the same colour. And these very adorably are from my sister and brother-in-law, and they basically took flowers from our wedding, pressed them and gave them to us for our first wedding anniversary. So that was absolutely adorable. So let's go into the other rooms.